Hello guys and girls, and welcome back to yet another TryHard Diablo 3 class guide. So we'll be discussing the Monk and the 1.0.5 changes and how they've affected the class. We will go over a couple specs, not too much difference in the spec department, but we will cover them anyways. I have just a kind of main cookie cutter spec and then another kind of fun one I'm going to show you, which is just a bit of just something to goof around with really, Monster Power 0 to farm up Paragon levels, things like that. And then we're also going to discuss how to gear and which stats are the most viable and what you want to go for on your gear in general. And we'll talk about the actual 1.0.5 changes as well in the discussion. So yeah, let's get started with a couple specs. Alright guys, so in terms of specs for 1.0.5, not much has changed. I know it's a bit disappointing because like you obviously come to these guides for something groundbreaking and, you know, game changing and things like that. But unfortunately for the Monk class, there's not too much not much change this patch. Same with 1.0.4 again. I mean, it's just they didn't change the class mechanics enough, so it's you know, we're stuck with the same old builds, which kind of sucks. So obviously it's going to show you the main build we've all been using forever today, and then I want to show you another build I kind of made up. It's a bit of fun. It's actually meant for monster farming or monster power farming on level 0, but it's actually really good for Paragon leveling. That's the whole point of the build. So we'll get started with the original kind of, you know, cookie cutter kind of build, and I'll show you a couple variations for maybe doing the Infernal Machine and things like that. So you're going to want to use Fist of Thunder with the you know, the usual Thunderclap, which is just really good AoE damage overall. Does a 360 around you in terms of damage. It's, yeah, you know, it's just really good, fast attack, good for life on hit, things like that. And then you want your Sweeping Wind and Cyclones, so you want to go for critical hits with that, so your Cyclones are constantly going off doing insane damage. Then Blazing Wrath with the 15% damage on when you use it for 45 seconds. Obviously that's really good for just overall keeping really high DPS up. And then Ascension with Serenity with Ascension. That's 4 seconds on your bubble. Defensive Blinding Flash, Faith and Light gives you your 30% weapon damage as Holy for 3 seconds, which is amazing for burst. And then Mantra Conviction with Overall, which is just straight up just 24% damage all the time, 48% damage when you pop it. Really good. Overall solid build. Like I said, there's no way you can really get around using this if you want to farm effectively, because you constantly have that 48% damage coming from your Mantra, you constantly have your Sweeping Wind going, and then your Fists of Thunder is just insane DPS as well. So it's just overall right now best build. I'll show you a few variations. Obviously with the passive skills, if you're anywhere past Monster Power 3 or 4, you're going to want to use these 3 passive skills. If you're before 3 and 4, you can get away with using whatever you want really. I mean, you can put Fleet-footed in for the movement speed, you could use Beacon of Yatar for the cooldown reduction, but it's not really necessary. I don't know, there's not too much really different. You can use Combination Strike instead of one of the 3, just get that extra damage. But like I said, if you're above 3 or 4, you're going to want the defensive talents. I've been messing around with Guardian's Path quite a bit, and it's good, but I still find Resolve to be better in 1.0.5. There's not much change with it. It's up to you guys, so I mean, it might just be personal playstyle. I do see lots of people running with Guardian's Path, but I just find the mitigation off Resolve much higher, much more reliable. Even though they have nerfed it 5%, it's still pretty damn good. But that's just my opinion. You could have a different one, who knows. Okay, now in terms of actually changing the build up, when I was past Monster Power 3 or 4, instead of using Blinding Flash, I actually used Deadly Reach with Foresight, and that gives you 18% damage all the time. Now, why I use that is because since the mobs take so much longer to kill, your uptime on DPS is a lot higher. So Deadly Reach actually seems overall more kind of sustained DPS than Blinding Flash. So that's just my personal opinion. I don't know if you guys agree or not. Obviously, you get the defensive component off Blinding Flash, but once you get your life on hit up and your life steal and things like that, I just don't feel that you need the defensive component of Blinding Flash. So I found Deadly Reach much better. But, I mean, then again, it's up to you guys what you want to use in that slot. Now, in terms, if you're having problems with survival, Mantra of Evasion with Hard Target is always a good option. You get your 15% dodge and you get your 20% armor, which is really nice. I really like it. It's, you know, it keeps you alive. It's really nice. So if you're having problems with survival, anywhere from Monster Power like 3+ or whatever, you can use that. A popular one nowadays is Mantra of Evasion with, which one was it? I think it was, I think you can use Boon of Inspiration for the extra life on hit, and then you're constantly getting the life per second from the actual mantra. And then you could always use, depending on your resistances and your armor, instead of Evasion, you could use Time of Need with Mantra of Healing, which gives you 20% resistances. So if you're looking at 900 resist without your buff on, then you could be, you know, almost 1,100 resist all with that on, which is pretty pretty sexy, I found. So that's big popular kind of one right there, Mantra of Healing. And I've been seeing lots of people using this in Infernal Machine with 4 players, and I actually agree with this. If you're an Infernal Machine with 4 players, the healing on this is really nice, and keeping everyone's resistances is actually quite nice as well. So you're kind of like boosting your party big time when you use this, and you're boosting your party big time when you use Boon of Inspiration as well. So I use those when I play with 4 players, anywhere from 7+ on Infernal Machine, but yeah. So yeah, that's the build. That's the first build. I know it sucks to use the same old build, you know, but I mean, they haven't changed enough for us to use anything different that's amazing. So, stuck with this for now, but hopefully they'll change 1.0.6, which I will be talking about later. Let's move on to the second kind of just fun build that I wanted to show. Alright guys, like I said, this isn't anything too serious. It's just what I've been having fun with, kind of farming out Paragon levels, things like that. Like I farmed out like 3 in an hour, 45 minutes with it or something, I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty much a Tempest Rush build. You get crazy movement speed, you run around really fast, and you're kind of like a Whirlwind Barbarian, but a bit worse because Tempest Rush knocks stuff back and it's really annoying. But the general build is Fists of Thunder with Quickening, so that's really good for Spirit Regen on critical hits. You gain 15. So obviously, like whenever you run out of spirits, you can just quickly attack a few guys, and you pretty much get to full pretty quickly. And you have your Tempest Rush with Tailwind. Reason I use Tailwind is 25% movement speed. You can use Northern Breeze, which reduces the channeling cost, but I find Tailwind to be a lot better in terms of kind of getting around and being efficient. Defensive skills, again, you want to get to 15% damage. Damage is really important in this build, as you want to kill stuff as quickly as possible and move on to the next pack, really. So 15% damage on that. There was, which one was it? I was using this for a while, but I found the 10% damage to be 15% damage to be a bit better, but this does work really well. You can use Infused with Light, gives you 8 extra spirit per attack for 5 seconds after using Breath of Heaven. So this technically can be a bit more efficient, but I find Blazing Wrath to be a bit better for my playstyle. So every 15 seconds you pop that, and you pretty much get all of your spirit back, but I was getting spirit back quick enough regardless. So, and then Deadly Reach or Foresight, nice to keep up for 18% damage. I mean, you can't really complain. 18% damage up all the time is really, really nice. And then Cyclone, again with Sweeping Winds. You just have your Cyclones going, so you pretty much have Sweeping Winds going all the time while Tempest Rushing through mobs. That's pretty much like the bread and butter of the spec. You just Tempest Rush, Sweeping Wind up, and it pretty much owns all the mobs really, really quickly. Again, Mantra, you can use what you want. I use Overawe as usual. You can swap Healing out for Circle or Circular Breathing, which gives you 3 spirits per second, which can give you overall pretty nice spirit regen, which is crucial for keeping up Tempest Rush. But I found the 24% damage to be a bit better. Now, in terms of passive skills, this is pretty much what I'm going to say you should use. Obviously, this is really meant for Monster Power 0, this build, so you don't need anything defensive. I'm going to recommend Fleet-Footed for the movement speed, as movement speed is everything for farming out Paragon levels. Chance of Resonance, which is 2 spirit per second while you have a mantra up, which is really, really nice. And then you have Exalted Soul, which gives you maximum spirit by 100 and 1 spirit regen. So you have 3 spirit regen combined there, and you can get an extra 3 from your mantra, so you can have 6 per second. And then if you have any on top of your gear, like if you have any like fist weapons or anything, you can get a pretty good amount of spirit regen for this build. So it's pretty nice. You move around really quickly. If you have Tempest Rush, I mean, I'm gonna say if you have 10 spirit regen, you're pretty much keeping this up 100% of the time, which is achievable. I haven't actually tried it with 10, but I'm going to assume it's going to be pretty nice, really, just constantly Tempest Rushing around. So yeah, it's just something, like I said, it's a bit of fun. It does actually farm out Paragon levels, probably the quickest of any of the builds I've seen on Monster Power 0. And if you do like leveling your Paragon level, sorry, not your Monster Power levels, your Paragon level, then it's a pretty good build, so give it a shot. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comment section below as well. Let's move on to some gearing discussion now. Okay, so in terms of gearing, not much has actually changed in 1.0.5, even kind of in despite of the kind of our defensive cooldowns being nerfed a bit. Overall, it's the exact same pretty much gearing, so I kind of want to talk about a few different key points in terms of offensive stat gearing, but the rest of it's pretty much basic kind of stuff I've said in the rest of my guides, but I will go over the stat priority list regardless, just in case you haven't seen the other guides. So I'll show you my gear really quickly, just so you get an idea of what I'm using and what you should kind of be aiming for in terms of gear. I don't have too many of the like kind of special legendaries on my character, but I haven't been playing my monk as my main for the last little while, so I haven't had the money to kind of afford them. So I'll just show you the yellows I've been using and how good they can really be. So my weapon, this isn't actually an amazing weapon. The only reason I got this is because I share it with my barbarian. But overall, it's pretty good. You want to go for high damage on your weapon, anywhere from 1,000 plus if you can afford it. You actually want to get dexterity on there. You want to get critical hit damage on there, and you want an open socket. Now, the reason I use life on hit is I actually found past monster power 3 on the monk. Life on hit is pretty crucial. I mean, in terms of survival, you can't really rely on health globes anymore unless your DPS is really crazy. You actually need some good life on hit and life steal. I'll discuss the life steal later though. So instead of crit damage on the weapon, I went for life on hit. My DPS obviously goes down a bit more. If I had crit damage on it, it'd be about 63k, I think. But the life on hit keeps me alive, so that's that. Now this is my normal offhand actually. Again, it has dexterity, has some vitality on there, high life on hit, has critical hit chance, critical hit damage, sorry, and an open socket. Now, the offhand damage isn't that important, so you can go a lot lower on that, making it a lot more affordable to get something with higher kind of life on hit, critical hit damage stats. Like this is only like 2 million or something stupid, or 3 million maybe, so you can get something roughly like that that keeps you alive, gives you good offensive stats, things like that, for a pretty good price. Now, in terms of gear, on all the gear, as you can see, I've just gone for high dexterity, high vitality, my chosen resist, which is poison, all resist, and that follows through on all the gear. Kind of high dex, high vite, chosen resist, and as you can see, it just goes through. Now, in terms of items like shoulders, belt, and chest, you want to get life percentage on those because you can. Life percentage does give you quite a bit of health. As you can see, I'm at 56k right now, which is a pretty good amount of life, and that's mainly because of the extra life percentage on my gear. You obviously need some base vitality to get it up with, but yeah. Now, in terms of rings and necks, bracers, you want to go for critical hit chance on all those. Critical hit chance is pretty much your highest DPS stat, and I'll go over that in a second when we go over the priorities. And then on rings, you want to go for attack speed, average damage, and critical hit chance, along with dexterity. And then gloves, you technically want attack speed and critical hit chance, high dexterity, and if you can get some resistances and things on there, it's always nice. Now, let's go over the stat priority list. Okay, so with the stat priorities, nothing's really changed in terms of in what you want to go for, but I do have a little extra piece of kind of advice for offensive stats, which I don't know if it's too popular at the moment or not, so I'll go over that after the defensive stats. So in terms of defensive stats, the order that you want to go for all resist with your chosen resist, followed by vitality, followed by armor, followed by life percentage, followed by life on hit, then life steal. Now, life steal is only good when you have roughly 80k DPS. If you don't have 80k DPS and you have to use a cyclone build for this as well. The sweeping winds one. If you don't have over 80k DPS, life steal isn't going to be that good, but I find anywhere from 80k DPS plus, like I borrowed my friend's gear and he had like 100k DPS or something, and life steal was keeping me up so well, but I used it on my gear with about 50-60k DPS, and it sucked badly. Like, it really wasn't that good at all. So I'm going to say 80k is a sweet spot for life steal. I haven't really theory crafted that, just based on what I've done. 80k is the way to go for life steal, and that's like, 2.5% plus. If you have 5% plus, and I don't know how you'd really do it unless you've done both your weapons, but yeah, then it'll be pretty good, probably beyond 70%. Now, after life steal, you want to go for life per second, and then health glow bonus is last on the defensive stats. Now, I'm going to say life steal is life percentage is higher than vitality, but you actually do need a good base vitality to base your life percentage off. I'd probably go for around 950 vitality plus to base your life percentage off. And then I'd start going, once you hit 950 vitality, go for life percentage, pretty much. Now, in terms of offensive stats, nothing has changed. Everything's the same. I'm going to say, okay, so this is my order kind of stat priority. Dexterity, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, then attack speed, then average damage, then critical hit damage. Now, average damage is a funny stat. Not many people have really been using it from what I've seen, but it is actually really good. Let me just see if I can find this ring. Okay, so average damage is weapon damage, pretty much. So 35 maximum damage pretty much just adds on to your weapon damage. So it makes that weapon 541 to 994. It makes it an extra 35 on, so it'll be 576 to 994, which adds on a lot of damage, and I'll show you right now. Okay, so that has 35 max damage, 89 dex, 5% attack speed, 4.5% critical hit chance. Now, here's an identical ring. That ring is actually better in terms of it has more attack speed, And look, you can see it's 900 DPS down almost from that 35 maximum damage. So that kind of shows you how kind of effective maximum damage can be. I mean, almost 1k damage for 35 max damage. You can get rings with 35 to like 89, 55 to 101 average damage, which is like, if I had that on this weapon or this ring, it would be an extra 3.5k DPS upgrade, I think I did in my math, which is, you know, pretty insane. So when you're searching for rings and necks, like kind of filter out average damage as well with attack speed and critical hit chance and see what you can get. I mean, these rings were about that one was 2 million, that was 3.5. The maximum damage, people haven't been pricing it too expensive yet because not many people have been going for it. So yeah, get it while you can. It's a really nice stat. Now, like I said, in terms of the other offensive stats, nothing has changed. You want your critical hit chance on all of your items you can, mainly just because your Cyclone procs off that, and you constantly have your tornadoes going and things like that off your critical hit chance. So I'd say aim for about 40% with your Scoundrel, maybe more if you can. And that's using dual wield. If you're going with a shield, 50% is obviously the way to go, but I wouldn't actually recommend using a shield nowadays. So yeah, nothing, like I said, nothing's changed in terms of gearing. If you're looking for kind of like how to get the most out of your money, I'm making a monk, what is it, sorry, a monk budget guide, there we go. I'm making the monk budget guide for this Friday, so keep an eye out for that. That'll teach you like really kind of what to buy on the auction house and things like that. But those are the stat priorities for you. Hopefully that's helpful stuff. Let's move on to the 1.0.5 changes and how they really haven't affected the class, but how they have really. So yeah, let's get started on that. Okay, so with the patch notes, now the 1.0.5 changes are, I just thought they're, I don't know, not too satisfying. I wasn't happy with them. I'm not going to sit here and complain, but nothing really changed. I mean, it's nothing's really changed since 1.0.0 since the game came out in terms of monks, which I'm not, you know, I'm not overly pleased about, but it's, yeah, you know, it just kind of sucks. So let's get started on the actual patch notes. As we can see, nothing changed. We have Breath of Heaven, Skill Rune, Infuse the Light, bonus regeneration 6 to 8 for 5 seconds. Yay! Thanks, Blizzard. Dashing Strike. The animation after Dashing Strike now scales with attack speed. Cool. Then we got Run Speed bonus 5 to 8%. Kind of cool, I guess, if you use it. I don't know who really does. Now the passive skills, couple okay changes if these are the things you use. Beacon of Yatar is 20% cooldown reduction now instead of 15, which is pretty good on things like Blinding Flash and Serenity. It's alright. I mean, an extra 5%. I used to use this back in 1.0.3, so I kind of tried it again. Didn't really like it, but yeah, if that's your thing, pretty cool. 20% now. Near-death experience, the cooldown has been reduced from 90 to 60 seconds, which is kind of cool as well. You might want to use this maybe in like Infernal Machine or something, like in case you maybe get gibbed by Siegebreaker or something. I don't know, might come in handy. Pacifism, nothing really changed. Resolve, now they obviously reduced our defensive cooldowns by quite a bit to kind of make up for the monster power nerf on like 0 and then 1, 2, and 3. So damage has been reduced by 5% from 25, which, or sorry, to 220 from 25, so it's 5%. Nothing too huge. Obviously, if you're on later monster powers, you notice a difference, but well, I guess you wouldn't notice a difference because you wouldn't know what it was like, or know what it was like before, so it doesn't really matter. CZ initiative is being nerfed big time. Armor from 100% to 50 of your overall dexterity, which kind of sucks, but again, if you're in later monster powers, your life on hit and life steal is going to be so high, it doesn't even matter how high your armor is. Your health is going to keep going to 100% over and over when you're geared enough. So that's pretty much it for the changes. I know, it sucks. Hopefully, when the PvP patch comes out, which I'm pretty sure is going to be 1.0.6, that's my guess. I have a feeling they're going to do something to monks, and it's going to be really cool. That's just my feeling, because based on, like, I mean, I spent all morning on monk forums just kind of seeing what people think about the changes, and nobody's happy. I haven't seen one post being like, oh my god, thanks Blizzard for changing us so much, because they haven't changed it. So, like I said in the last guide, I kind of want to see them do something with the Tempest Rush build, because I think it'd be really fun to Tempest Rush all the time with kind of Cyclones going, kind of like a Whirlwind Barbarian. I hope they do something with that so you can make it up 100% all the time, or close to it, and then maybe, I don't know, get rid of the knockback because it's stupid, something like that. That would be cool. Other than that, I don't see how they could really change the class as a whole. Hopefully they do it though, guys. I mean, I want my monk to be my main again. I want it to be exciting, so I hope they change something really soon. But yeah, in terms of actual changes, meh. Kind of sucks, but yeah, we'll see what happens in 1.0.6. Look, we even have the shortest page on the, I'm pretty sure, on the actual class changes. Maybe Witch Doctors do, I don't know. It's pretty short though. We have like 10 different things. Oh well. But yeah, guys, let's move on to the future guides I'll be coming out with and how they'll help you. Let's get moving. Rightio, guys. So that covers it for the 1.0.5 Monk guide. Apologize for kind of the lack of too many different things in this guide compared to the others. But like I said, like the class hasn't changed much. Like, I was almost considering not even doing a guide, mainly because just so little has changed, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, I just thought I'd get that out, maybe discuss a few things. Maybe you monks like hearing the sound of my voice. But yeah, I think the Tempest Rush build, I'm really excited, and I hope they really change something with that. So Blizzard, if you're watching, which you're not, change it. Make it really cool so we have like a whirlwind kind of spec. I really like it. I like the style. So yeah, that about covers it for today. In terms of future guides, obviously I'm finishing off the rest of the 1.0.5 guides. Now, I want you guys to vote on which guide comes out next. So if you look in the comment section below, I've posted Witch Doctor, Wizard, and Demon Hunter, and I just want you to thumbs up on the actual one you want to come out next. And the most thumbs up by next Sunday or Monday, I will do that guide next. So yeah, and also I'll be doing the same kind of vote system with the budget guides. The budget monk guide is coming out this week. Should be Friday, Saturday, and it will be it'll be covering kind of a 3 million budget guide, and it will be going over kind of which stats to go for on your gearing while you're trying to achieve kind of, you know, your small budget guide or small budget. So that's something to look forward to. Other than that, I want to make a Paragon leveling guide as well, so that's coming out, and I got a couple other decent ideas as well coming out. So yeah, I'm just waiting for PvP patch to hit, to be honest with you, so that's going to be awesome. I just cannot wait for PvP. It's going to be really cool. It might be a bit of bullshit, it might be really fun, it might be somewhere in between, so let's, I don't know, let's keep our fingers crossed and hopefully it's not bullshit, but yeah, hopefully it's awesome. So yeah, guys, that about covers it for today's guide. If you haven't checked out my monk, what is it, the weapon swapping with Sweeping Winds guide, that is actually still working at the moment from what I've seen, so I'll post a link right here on the screen for you. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you all on 1.0.6, fellow monks, and I hope it is much more exciting for us. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.